Hi there. Today is Thursday, November the 17th, 2016, and it's 8:24 p.m. Eastern Time. This talk is going to be about unity and um, and the way it helps. I'm using the ambient mic now. I'm using, the freestanding microphone rather than a headset. Seems like the headset microphone is too close to my face. So we'll see how this goes. Now, oh, sorry, I tapped the microphone. Sorry about that. The reason why I'm bringing up unity is because that we're arguing about among ourselves about our different positions about things. And the thing is that we all do have different positions. The key is to find the people that have your position and hang out with them rather than fooling around with other folks. Problem is that not everybody is going to be on board at the same level, and it's going to be aggravating trying to get them there. And I'm learning that myself. I mean, there are some people I just want to take and shake, but you can't because they're not there. The way people make decisions is based on their background, the way their brain is wired, and what they see in front of them, and their experiences. And if they didn't have the same experiences or have the same wiring that you do, they're not going to be on board with what you are. People are always going to be going in different directions. Unfortunately for us, we have to thin out and figure out which ones are closer to what we need. So that's why I keep saying on my previous recording that things that I'm saying ain't for certain people. And you can listen to my previous recordings to review what that is, because I'm not going to go back over it. It's too long. Well, I can go over this one. I don't hang around with black people that hang around with a lot of white people. I don't want to be around black people that have sex with white people. And so, not only do I want to want to be around white people on a social. I'm not talking about work and stuff like that. I'm talking about social, or voluntarily, or without having some kind of something coming my way when I'm around them. Otherwise, I just don't need to be there because it's not healthy for me, not healthy for them. It's not healthy for anybody. Contrary to what white people are doing, it's all of this stuff that they do. You like all that stolen history and noise and stuff that they did. They have done themselves a disservice as well as everybody else. I mean, it's bad enough that they stole from everybody's history, and I'm talking everybody's, not just black people. As you study history and look at it, what you'll find is that all of the conquered peoples have stories more in common with each other than any of them have in common with white people. And I'm talking about the historical accounts of what happened. They played this game on us and people all over the world. Black people are still holding out. We're some of the last to be conquered, and one of the first where they attempted, and one of the last to fall. And we haven't really failed. We're still in the battle. There are people who are completely extinct or nearly extinct. They did this stuff to down under in Australia. They've done this stuff in this continent, the Americas, and they did this stuff anywhere that they found people. And it's still like that, and they're still doing it. Only they're calling it different names. Black people are still holding out, and they're still trying, and they've found some inroads, but we're fighting back because truth is, with those inroads that they did find, we weren't supposed to even get this far. That's why I'm proud of the community of black people becoming aware. Is because we weren't supposed to get this far, at least not this soon. They supposed to hide that, or try to hide that, but we found it, and we have great heroes that helped us find it and made it available to us, and it's powerful. Now, all of this stealing stuff though is also unhealthy for white people. Short term, you might have some conquered folks, but you also distorted your abilities. They have fed this junk to their kids, all of that stolen stuff, and themselves being the heroes. And then when the kid turns out and figures out they're ordinary and can't do anything better than anybody else, that stuff messes with them. uh, even the media, the movies, the books, where they're always the hero, always the mover and shaker, always the good guy, or the bad guy, or the powerful guy, or the strong whatever, always the problem solver, always the this, always the that, always the hero, always the prince, always the king. That messes with the child. A child that's ordinary, that's a white little ordinary child, a boy or girl, who's not the fairy princess, and the boy who's not Prince Charming, who's not an extraordinary person. He's not your MacGyver. He's not Rambo. He's not anything extraordinary. He's not even what's the food with that with the that went Harrison Ford plays him with the whip and the running around the caves and stuff. Tomb Raider, no, not Tomb Raider. Sorry about that. I hit my mic again. But you know the one with Harrison Ford who plays the movie, the archaeologist. This ordinary child is none of those things. He's not MacGyver. He is Billy who barely can read. Okay, when these kids realize they're ordinary, they think something's wrong with the fabric of the universe. They think they have been wronged by everything. And that's when you get your serial killers. I ain't got no data on that, but I know that these people have a distorted view of reality, and based on what they've been fed all their lives, that's messing with their heads. They figure out that somebody else is doing something just as good as them. They think something's wrong, and so I'm saying it's not even doing them a good service. And so, among the reasons they need to fix that themselves, just to make their own sanity better. This is not to say that we can't learn something from white people. And one thing we can learn is unity, or at least setting aside our differences for a short term goal. White people can focus like a big dog on stuff that they want to get done, and they shut up and do it. They do it. We are different kind of people. Everything we do is rhythmic. And by rhythmic, I mean point counterpoint. We think like that and we act like that. We and the way it manifests in philosophical positions is we have varying positions, and those varying positions are the rhythm. So he has position A, I got position B, and they bounce off of each other. So that's the way it manifests in when we think and talk. We even argue with ourselves with point counterpoint. So, but that helps us build our societies, help us grow and explore and learn and all. That's how you build, because you have varying ideas put together and make a greater whole. Unfortunately, we can't set aside our point counterpoint to unify to save ourselves. We got somebody over here thinking you ought to hump every white thing you find. You got somebody else over here you think they ought to be friends. Somebody else over here want to blow them up. Somebody else over here wants to do a whole bunch of other stuff. And everybody's really feeling strong about their views. And it's explosive because we approach each other strongly with those views, our varying views, to the point that sometimes you even make enemies because you feel like they disrespected you or slighted you and somehow. And I'm saying, even though you do feel strong about whatever you feel, tone it down. I've got a lot of friends all over the country, and they know me and I know them, and we never had a real strong argument because I don't approach arguments that way. I don't approach my beliefs that way. And I found that this works. And so here's one way you can do it. And I'm just throwing it out there. if you got a strong belief and you know somebody else don't have that same strong belief, excuse me, listen to them carefully, make sure you heard everything they got to say, and then say, well, that doesn't work for me. Are you going to be okay with that? And if they say yes, fine. And if they say no, go away. And you're done. And you are done. That's it. Solidify your position so that you know exactly what it is. Make sure they heard every word of it. And if it don't work for you, walk away. And if it don't work, and if it don't work for them, and if what they put out don't work, walk away. Figure out what you want to do and do it. You don't have to argue about it, don't have to jump around about it, don't have to shout about it. Figure out what you want to do, think about it, and then go do it. Period. That's it. That is it. I was at a nightclub once, I think it was in Denver, and I was still kind of drunk coming out in the ladies' room, and one young lady, she had came out, and she was fussing because she was saying things like, and I'm paraphrasing, nobody, so I got a right to go out too sometimes. I need to go out and party and let my hair down, da da da. And she's fussing about because apparently somebody had told her she shouldn't go party, or she's arguing that she should go party every once in a while. She was a young lady. And I said, as in my drunk self, I said, you don't have to do all of that. You ain't got to be saying all that. And she looked at me and I said, oh, what you do is go, sit down, think about what you want to do, and then get up and go do it. And I was walking out. While she was looking at me like I just rained light from the sky, because she never considered that she can sit down, think about what she wants to do, and then get up and go do it. You're grown. Get yourself up and go do what you want to do. If you got something to think about, get up and go think about it. You got something to say, go say it. That's it. Y'all don't have to do all this back and forth. Put your position out there, argue it, and say it, and then the people who are your followers will come to you. Now, the people who criticize whatever, criticize having read everything they had to say. And then if you read it, then if you're going to put something in there, put something in there in your critique that they didn't illustrate or mention as food for thought of another position. Most people don't mind hearing a different point of view as long as you bring up a different point. Now, if you regurgitate the old points that they already went on, and said what they had to say despite those points, then that's when it becomes argumentative and silly. And I'm saying we don't have time to be silly among each other. So I'm just putting that out there about the unity thing. Now I'm gonna give you a brief look at my outline. Not everybody is going to be on board at the same level. Number 2 is not unified is one of the greatest downfall of all conquered peoples. Then I want to mention the Vietnam example, the Taliban example, and then white are the people who understand unity, and I got some subtopics there about how we can learn about that. Now, like I said, not everybody's going to be on board of this movement at the same level. There are people who are further along in the movement than I am in their thinking. I'm at the point where I just want to focus on getting the black man, woman, and child in the black family walking forward in the future with their able to have healthy, viable, strong, mentally and physically right offspring, and perpetual offsprings going that direction where we're at our best and doing things that help us proceed with our best. And that's generation after generation after generation. I don't ever want us at this place again where we're foolish enough to depend on other people to help us, because they can't. And we have to be strong enough to help ourselves and proceed with doing that. And I will say this about white people. They really tried in the 60s and 70s to do the right things by us, but they just couldn't sustain it. It was against what they do. They tried, they gave it a good try. But by the 80s came around, they had flipped out and they were going in this direction. They started in this direction at about 1979, and this is the result of it. This is a manifestation that's been growing since 1979, right before Reagan was elected, and it's been snowballing since then. And it's coming to a head like a big old pustule that needs to be a pimple that needs to be lanced, and it's just ugly, and they let that manifest and become an ugly spirit inside of them. I don't really want to touch them because, skin to skin touch, because that is a spiritual poison. That's a contamination. It is. It's a spiritual poison. It wasn't there before, but it grew. If you see them humping them animals and some of that other debauched stuff that you do, that you picture being a demon in hell would do, that's what they're doing and wanting to do. They want to poison everything. I think they figured out that the cosmos and the earth decided that they need to be extinct because they were so out of balance. And they are ultimately going the way of the dodo bird, where nature has decided to end them because they are that out of balance. And that's what nature does when it's got creatures that aren't worthy of going forward. It renders them extinct. And it's a slow process. And I think on some level they figured out that nature has rendered them extinct, are unworthy to proceed in the future, in the human future, or on this planet. And I think they're trying to take everything with them as they go. They're dying, and now they want to murder the earth and everybody else. And so they're spending their time attacking plants, animals, things in the sea, things in the air, on the microscopic level and the macroscopic level. And that is the biggest thing out in space to the smallest thing, sub part of anything. And we got to stop them because we still need to have the planet when they go. And it's going to be a slow process. It's not fast. I mean, with their low birth rate and their mysterious diseases that are killing them right and left. Yeah, I think so. On some level, they realize that nature has rendered them extinct, so they're fighting everything else. They're fighting nature, fighting the people, they're trying to take everything with them. I think that, unfortunately. Now, a lack of unity is the greatest downfall of all conquered people. What I'm talking about is in the Americas, and I said this previously, in the Americas, when the conquistadors were coming through, they were being let through by the local people. The local people felt like they didn't have a stake in the safety of the ruling class, so they were letting the conquistadors through. They weren't trying to hold up and protect the greater group because they didn't think of it that way. They felt like they were all going to be under some kind of rulership either way, and they felt slighted by their own rulership, so they felt like they didn't have nothing to lose. And what we know now is that a European will tell you anything you need to hear to get what he wants when it's something like that. In fact, they send their people to you in layers. They'll send the nice guys first to open the doors, and the nice people that come into your world, like your artists and your philosophers, your historians, the nice people who write, the missionaries who are generous and kind and all of those things, those are the ones that open the doors. Next are the people who want to conquer and exploit. But by that time, it's already too late because your doors are open. People have gotten settled there, then undermined your society so that your society can't really protect itself when the conquerors come. Nor are the people who are there unified, because they got people who want to protect the group. They're friends with the people who conquered or the invaders that came in. They don't want to see Miss Mindy get hurt. They don't want to see Bobby, who helped me do so and so, get hurt. So they sneak and tell them, who in turn make sure that the right people know so they can resolve that and finish conquering the country. And this has happened all over the world. Happened in the Americas, happened in Africa, happened in the Polynesias and Australia. It's always undermined by the insiders. Now, one example where that didn't happen was Vietnam. Vietnam was a little bitty country, and Westerners tried to conquer it, except the people were completely unified. Those that weren't unified had to get on the helicopters too, because they didn't have no safe haven with their people, because the people weren't going to have them. They had to have a Vietnam boat lift for in a tent city at Eglin Air Force Base, where all those collaborators had to leave that country. I forgot how many it was, but the collaborators, or the people who helped Americans or helped the foreigners, had to get out of Vietnam because the people that were there wasn't going to let them live. They had to leave. They were going to die. So yeah, they had to go. And Vietnam really kicked America out. They set traps. They had things focused, and all the plants, animals, and people were against them, because they rigged up the plants to be booby trapped to hurt you. They did all they could do in all levels so that the people that the invaders were not gonna be safe. Wasn't gonna be safe night or day. My uncles told me stories from when they came back from Vietnam, where they didn't even have food and couldn't find food. Had to eat animals, and he had to eat bugs for the protein. And he was ashamed, but that we I think we when he was discussing it, we helped him through what would have been more severe PTSD than he had, but he got to unload and speak to us kids about what we went through, and found out that he was still loved and accepted despite what they went through. And not only him, there was a lot of Vietnam veterans coming back in my hometown that we listened to, and I remember their stories. They weren't kidding. It was bad, because they have a consistent story. Another one is the Taliban. The Taliban is still around despite all them years of somebody trying to take them down. That's because the people, for whatever their political beliefs, whether you like them or not, those people who run it are unified. So even if you got lesser arms and lesser power, if you're focused in a unified people, you can't be conquered. We need to understand that. But first, we got to be able to understand that we need to unify with each other and set aside our differences. And I'm not saying join the train of betrayers. I'm saying understand that those are betrayers. And if you can have a short-term alliance, then fine. To focus on something short-term where you don't let them in your house and you don't go in theirs. And by house, I'm talking about your club meetings and your things that you discuss. But if it's a short-term alliance, it's fine. I'd even have a short-term alliance with white people. If we have a focused goal, and don't try to come home with me, and don't try to get me to your house. That is, to your neighborhood, or to your meeting, or to whatever you call your own. Don't try that. But yeah, that'll be a temporary alliance if it's to that main goal. If I see it as part of helping my main goal, yeah, sure. I work with people from all cultures right now, and I'm a jovial, happy coworker. I believe that if I sign up for the job, then I need to represent that company and do the best I can, because that's what I signed on for, and I have no problem with that. I just know that I can't count on you and your friendship to help me in mine, and nor should you. I don't have a problem with you not helping me in mine, because I don't think you should. It's not healthy for us, for them to be helping us. I don't think that. I don't think that it's healthy for white people to help us, because that only makes us weaker. Okay, but now the next thing is white people. White people understand unity. Everything that they do is unified. They don't have the same way of thinking that we do with point, counterpoint, rhythmic. They have singular focus. if you ever talk to a white person, um, they often will have only one way to do one thing. Like I might have three or four or five ways to do the same thing, but they have one way and they consider that the best way, and you have to argue with them to prove that that way that they are doing it is not the best way. And when they figure out that this other way is the best way, that's the only way to do it, as far as they're concerned. That's they actually make terrible managers, really. Yeah. I work for an agency that's almost all white in management, and it's one of the worst agencies in the country that's got some of the bad press. And I'm going to take that back, saying that they make terrible managers. I'm going to withdraw that, because I do know some white people who were nice managers, who were great managers. It's just that I know a lot of them who were terrible. And I know a lot of them, black people that were terrible managers too. So I'm going to be fair with that, and present that balanced. So, yeah, let's set aside our difference for a time. What they did with the people who were dissenters with white people, they were afraid to speak up because they knew that the penalties would be high. When you are a dissenter in a white community and they have decided that unified front is the way to go, they don't make it pleasant for the dissenters. They do things. So, dissenters stay silent. That's what's happening now. I suspect there's a lot of white people who don't like what's going on, but they're not speaking up. Only time they do speak up is on the black web page, where the easy audience is. They don't go to the white web page. And we just got to look out for that. But yeah, white people dissenters stay silent. That's all I have for this one right here. I just wanted to put out that unity thing. There's more to come, but I'm not going to do it tonight. I'm just saying, let's look at what we can gather from it, and either A, go your way and you go, or you go mine, or B, find some temporary alliances for what we might need to do to proceed, but don't expect everybody to be on this journey on board at the same time, at the same level. And review mine that talks about the maze that where many people go on the same path to get to the same goal. Okay, that's the end of this one. Thanks again, and good night.